Delvadia wanted their own Captain America. What they got was a weapon with no loyalty, no conscience, and no limit on how far he'd go. Anton Rodriguez's life unfolded like a fuse, burning toward an explosion, bright, volatile, and destined to end in ruin. He began as a zealot in the jungles of Delvadia, part of a revolutionary cell sworn to topple the nation's fascist regime. But while others fought for ideology, Rodriguez fought for the thrill. He blew up supply convoys, abducted officials, and robbed banks with a swagger that made him indispensable. Until the day he murdered a guard simply because it amused him. Horrified, his comrades cast him out. The Delvadian military, however, saw him as a weapon they could use. Rodriguez became the Captain America of his country. They gave him a commission, a costume, a new name, El Tarantula, and a special mission. They unleashed him on the very rebels he had once called brothers, and he reveled in the bloodshed. He hunted down his former allies with a sadistic joy. But when a soldier dared to restrain him from beating a prisoner during an interrogation, Rodriguez killed the soldier on the spot. He instantly went from being a state asset to being a fugitive of the state. Rodriguez fled the country, bringing along his whip-wielding brother Hidalgo and the deadly bola thrower Juan. They would arrive in New York months later. After arriving, he took his time learning the ins and outs of the New York criminal underworld. His first big job in New York was hijacking a tourist ferry on the Hudson River. Peter Parker just happened to be among the passengers. When Tarantula kicked a man overboard, Spider-Man leapt into action and rescued the man. Unfortunately, Spider-Man had forgotten to refill his web fluid, and the hero couldn't pursue the ferry. Tarantula demanded $1 million ransom and sent his men to strip the passengers of valuables, only for Spider-Man to return. As Spider-Man battled the trio, Tarantula was able to stab him with a drug-laced blade. The drugs kicked in, and Spider-Man went down just as the Punisher arrived on the scene. Tarantula claimed that Spider-Man was a criminal and made his escape in a helicopter as Spider-Man and the Punisher battled. But Tarantula's victory was short-lived. Spider-Man and the Punisher tracked him to a Manhattan tenement, where the Punisher defeated Juan and Hidalgo while Spider-Man took down Tarantula as he tried to escape. Prison didn't hold Tarantula for long. The Jackal, Miles Warren, engineered his escape. Tarantula crafted a new set of his patented spiked shoes in the prison workshop, and then used them to kill a guard, scale the prison wall, and escape. Set on getting revenge, he ambushed Spider-Man, drugging him and throwing him off the Brooklyn Bridge, wrapped in chains, but the hero survived. Soon after, the Tarantula was hired by a masked figure calling himself El Leader. The job was to kidnap Empire State University's Vice Chancellor, Edward Lansky. Tarantula succeeded, only to discover that Lansky himself was El Leader. He was then given the task of assassinating the mayor during a staged kidnapping. Tarantula failed due to Spider-Man's interference. His failure prompted El Leader to bring in Kraven the Hunter to help Tarantula. This time, the target was School Chancellor Richard Gorman. They captured Gorman, but Kraven, obsessed with defeating Spider-Man, circled back to the scene of the crime, knowing Spider-Man would show up. Tarantula took Gorman back to El Leader and collected both his and Kraven's payment. But as he walked away, counting the money, it exploded. Knockout gas was hidden in the money and incapacitated him. When he awoke, he broke free of his restraints and went after El Leader. To Tarantula's surprise, he was waiting for him as the newly transformed Lightmaster and blasted Tarantula. Tarantula survived and resurfaced alongside Senor Suerte, hijacking experimental mad bombs. Captain America infiltrated their gang but was discovered. He was poisoned and dumped in a river. Thanks to the super soldier serum, Cap survived and regained his memory. He then returned and defeated Tarantula. Tarantula escaped prison yet again, this time fleeing to Miami Beach under the alias of Mr. Valdez. He was then hired by the Brand Corporation to assassinate an informant. Spider-Man intervened, breaking several of Tarantula's ribs and leaving him humiliated. Desperate to reclaim his reputation, he accepted Brand's offer to give him spider powers. Just by chance, Spider-Man was there investigating the Brand Corporation. He watched as Tarantula was injected with a synthetic spider serum and submerged in an electrolyte tank. Spider-Man then moved in to stop it, but Will-O-the-Wisp attacked the facility. The machinery overloaded and the experiment went catastrophically wrong, transforming Tarantula into a monstrous humanoid spider. Tarantula went on the hunt for brand executive James Melvin, the man responsible for the experiment, and nearly devoured him before the Wisp intervened. Denied his revenge, he staggered to the edge of the rooftop, begging the police to end his suffering. He hurled himself from the building and the officers opened fire. His massive body crashed to the street, finally dead. But the tarantula identity would live on. Delvadian later bestowed it on Captain Luis Alvarez, and Rodriguez's own daughter, Jacinda, became a tarantula herself. And of course, since this is the comics, Anton Rodriguez, the tarantula, was eventually resurrected. Long before science twisted him into a monster, Rodriguez was already a nightmare in human form. He is a peak human-level athlete with lethal instincts, as well as a brutal, close-quarters fighter who blends guerrilla tactics with street fighting. Well, that's the origin of the Marvel character Tarantula. Now, before you leave the video, please help the channel spin a bigger web by liking the video, leaving a comment, and subscribing. That does it for this one. Thanks for watching. Peace.